So, you moved to Colombia or you're planning to. That's great. But beyond the weather, food, and culture, there's one thing you can't ignore: taxes. And yes, we get it. Talking about taxes doesn't exactly sound exciting, but no worries. In this video, we'll walk you through everything you need to know about taxes in Colombia as a foreigner. Clear, simple, and with real-life examples. No confusing jargon. We're gonna talk about who is required to file a tax return in Colombia, what's the difference between filing and paying taxes, what happens if you don't file or if you file late, what is the foreign asset declaration and who needs to file it, how does the wealth tax work for foreigners, and what if you own a business or a commercial space in Colombia. Let's go. Let's start with the basics. Are you a tax resident in Colombia? Here is the key. Being a tax resident has nothing to do with your visa or your cedula. It all comes down to how many days you've spent in the country. If you've been in Colombia for more than 183 days within any 365-day period, you're officially considered a tax resident. And no, it doesn't have to be within a single calendar year. The 365-day count can span across 2 different years, and every day counts, including your arrival and departure. Let's see some practical examples that may help you better understand this concept. So for the first example, we're gonna take 183 continuous days within a single 365-day time period. So it will be from February to August in the same tax year. So for example number 2, we're gonna take 183 continuous days across 2 calendar years, from October 2024 to April 2025. Now, imagine someone arrives in Colombia on October 1st, 2024 and stays without leaving until April 1st, 2025. That's a continuous period of 183 days, but this stay is split across 2 calendar years, part in 2024, part in 2025. Still, the 365-day rule applies. So, this person becomes a tax resident for 2025 because the 183-day count is completed within a 365-day period that ends in 2025. For example number 3, we're gonna take 183 non-consecutive days across 2 years, so they're not continuous. They come in October 2024 for 20 days, then on December of that same year they come for 25 days, then on February 2025 it will be 28 days, on April 2025 they stay 30, on June 2025 they stay 31 days, on July 2025 they stay 30, and then on August it's 20 days. The total, it's 184 days in Colombia between October 2024 and August 2025. The days are not continuous, but they add up within a 365-day window. This person is also a tax resident for 2025 because even though the stays were intermittent, they still exceeded 183 days within one rolling year. In all cases, if you become a tax resident for a given year, you must file your Colombian tax return the following year. So, tax resident in 2024, file in 2025. Tax resident in 2025, file in 2026. Now, being a tax resident doesn't automatically mean you have to pay taxes in Colombia. It depends on how much you earn and own. Here's how it works. According to Colombia's tax authority, DIAN, you need to file a tax return if you meet any of these conditions. So, first, your total assets worldwide as of December 31st, 2024 are equal to or more than 211,792,000 Colombian pesos, or approximately 51,000 US dollars. That includes your properties, cars, bank accounts, and investments in Colombia and abroad. Second would be your total income in 2024 was equal to or more than 65,891,000 Colombian pesos, or approximately 16,000 US dollars. That includes salary, freelance work, rent from properties, pensions, commissions, you name it. So the third would be you spent more than 65,891,000 Colombian pesos, or approximately 16,000 US dollars on your credit cards. Even if the money came from abroad, if you spent it here, it counts. Fourth, you spent more than 65,891,000 Colombian pesos, or approximately 16,000 US dollars on purchases or general expenses, rent, groceries, travel, furniture, add it all up. And fifth, your Colombian bank deposits or financial transactions total 65,891,000 Colombian pesos, or approximately 16,000 US dollars or more. Even if the money came from overseas, if it's moved through Colombian banks, it counts. And this is important, you only need to meet one of these conditions to be required to file. So what if you're living in Colombia but haven't reached those 183 days yet? Then you're a non-resident. And what does that mean? That you will only pay taxes on income earned in Colombia, assets located in Colombia like a property, a vehicle, or a local bank account. Example, if you own an apartment in Medellin and rent it out, you're only required to declare and pay taxes on the rental income generated from that property in Colombia, not on your global income or assets. Now here's a very common question. If I have to file taxes, does that mean I have to pay taxes? Great question. And the answer is not necessarily. Turns out, declaring doesn't always mean paying. You can file your return because you meet the criteria, but the final result might be no tax due. This is especially true if you've already had taxes withheld at the source, or you're covered by a tax treaty that helps avoid double taxation. Here's a pro tip. With proper tax planning, you can significantly reduce your tax burden and make sure you're paying exactly what's fair and nothing more. Okay, so now you realize you do need to file. What's next? Pay attention to the dates. In 2025, you must file between August 12 and October 24, depending on the last 2 digits of your NIT, your tax ID number. We'll leave the full calendar link in the video description. And what happens if you miss the deadline? Watch out. Late filing penalties are steep. You'll pay 5% of the tax owed, and that increases each month, or a fraction of a month if you're late. Even if your return shows 0 tax due, the minimum fine for filing late is 498,000 Colombian pesos. Now, if you're a tax resident in Colombia and you have assets outside of Colombia, like a house, international bank accounts, or investments, there's one more step. You need to file a foreign asset declaration. Also, if you have significant wealth, Colombia has something called the wealth tax. And yes, it also applies to foreigners. It's a permanent tax that must be paid by individuals or even unsettled states whose net worth exceeds 72,000 UVT. For 2025, that's approximately 3,585 million Colombian pesos. What does it apply to? Individuals who are required to file income tax in Colombia. Foreigners, even if they don't live in Colombia, if they own assets in the country, like property, vehicles, or bank accounts. Side note here, shares, receivables, and portfolio investments are exempt. Bottom line, if you're investing big in Colombia, check if you qualify and talk to a tax advisor. So far, we've focused on personal taxes, but what if you have a business in Colombia? Well, if you operate a permanent establishment in Colombia, like a cafe, co-working space, or any storefront, then yes, you must declare your income as an individual, and your business will also have tax and legal obligations, even if you're not a tax resident. So if you're planning to launch something here, make sure you understand your tax responsibilities early on. We know navigating Colombian taxes as a foreigner can feel overwhelming, but with the right guidance, it's totally manageable. At Nexo Legal, we're here to help you understand and comply with your tax obligations in Colombia without the headaches. Still have questions? Drop us a message, leave a comment, and follow us. We'll be sharing more content like this to support you every step of the way.